This is Jarrod Horak, and in this video, I'm going to take a final look at the 2024 Kentucky Derby. I'm going to go through the field and give out my top choice. Now, if you need past performances, Kentucky Derby Day at Churchill Downs, you can find those at todaysracingdigest.com. They're also offering their annual Complete Digest Kentucky Derby Day edition, which includes past performances, analysis, pace and speed ratings, performance ratings, jockey and trainer stats, and much more. So head on over to todaysracingdigest.com for more details. I'm also selling my Kentucky Derby Day full card at the Digest website or at my personal website, therunawayhorse.com. If you go over to my website, on my sales page, you'll see my full card schedule for Kentucky Derby Week, Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby Day full cards, Preakness Week, Black-Eyed Susan Day, and Preakness Day full cards. And then Belmont Stakes Week, the 4-day Belmont Stakes Festival at Saratoga in June. I'm going to cover full cards for all 4 days. So head on over to the runawayhorse.com for more details. On Wednesday, May 1st, I completed my Kentucky Derby full card. So that's available now to purchase if you're interested in my full cards for the Triple Crown series. I've been covering these full cards for the Triple Crown for many years. I've had a lot of success over the years. I've been selling full cards online since the late 1990s. And now we're going to get into the Kentucky Derby analysis here. Now, I just did a video and I talked about the possibility of a wet track and which horses would move forward and which horses may not like a wet track. And you can watch that video on my YouTube channel. But right now we're going to get into the final analysis of the Derby. 12th race at Churchill Downs, Saturday, May 4th, 2024. Grade 1, $5 million Kentucky Derby for 3-year-olds, traveling 1.25 miles on the main track. Scheduled post time, 6:57 p.m. Eastern. And we have Dornoch breaking from the inside post, and he's a 20-1 outsider. And the past performances in this video are provided by todaysracingdigest.com. And as I mentioned, Dornoch is going to be probably all over the pace from the inside post. As a matter of fact, he may be the one to catch. In this big, bulky field, they're probably going to want to just go right out to the lead. He set the pace in 3 of his starts. In his maiden win, he went wire to wire at 1 16th. In the Remsen Stakes, in the mud, he dueled on the lead, and he won by a nose over Sierra Leone. That was a speed favoring track. The Fountain of Youth Stakes, he got out there, he set the pace, he kept on going. The Bluegrass Stakes, they rated him in 4th, and he just lost ground in the stretch, and he did finish 4th in that 10-horse field. So for Dornoch, it looks like he's most effective when he can get out there and set the pace, because all 3 of his career wins were wire to wire. So from that inside post, under Luis Saez, his winning rider, I'll look for Danny Gargan's Good Magic Colt to try to go wire to wire. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to outlast this field. There seems to be other quality speed in here, and I'm looking at least an honest pace, but he'll take them as far as he can. Sierra Leone is going to be a late threat in this race for trainer Chad Brown. This is a son of Gunrunner. They paid $2.3 million for him, and he's done little wrong in his 4-race career. He won a 1-turn mile, a race that was too short for him in his career debut. So he showed a lot of ability winning that race when it was clearly he was going to be better as a 2-turn horse. And then the runner-up from that race was a next out winner. Sierra Leone just missed in the Remsen Stakes, 2nd time out. That was a speed favoring wet track. 7 of the 10 races that day were won in wire-to-wire fashion. And Sierra Leone was 10th and last, 12 lengths back, passed everybody, and he even actually got to the front and even passed Dornoch, your pace setter, for a brief moment. But then Dornoch came back, and he won by a nose. And those 2 were well clear of the rest. That was a productive race last year, and then Sierra Leone added blinkers for his 2 starts this year. The Grade 2 Risen Star in the slop, he rallied from 9th. He won that one by a half length. And then last time out in the Bluegrass Stakes, he got a good setup, good pace. He rallied from the outside post, and he won by a length and a half. Didn't matter that he got a good setup or not. He's a horse that's just going to close, and he's just relentless. He just has a big stride. He's just learning his craft right now. He's looked good in workouts. He had a strong workout at Keeneland on April 20th, and he looked good in a team drill with Mystik product on April 27th. And since then, he's been galloping strongly. So Sierra Leone has a lot to like about him under Tyler Gaffalione. Gaffalione's 2 for 2 with him. Chad Brown looking for his first Kentucky Derby victory, but he's had some horses run well in the Derby in the past. Good Magic was 2nd, and Zandon was 3rd. And Chad Brown's won the Preakness before, and he's won that. He's knocking on the door in the Derby, and Sierra Leone could be his best chance to get that Derby victory. Mystik Dan, he probably needs a wet track. He romped in the mud in the Southwest Stakes, earning a big speed rating that day. And then in the Arkansas Derby, he was third, beaten 8 lengths behind Muth and Just Steel. So for Mystik Dan, if he does get that wet track, look for him to move up. He's probably going to be saving ground, sitting in mid-pack. He would like to run the way that he did in the Southwest, where he saved ground, came right up the rail and won nicely. I think his jockey, Brian Hernandez Jr., would like to do the same thing here. Catching Freedom, number 4 for Brad Cox. He's solid, 3 wins and a show finish from 5 starts. He's won at Churchill Downs before, and he's won at a mile and 3/16 last time out, close to this mile and a quarter distance. And he rallied from last, winning that Louisiana Derby last time out. Nice effort there, out finishing Anna Marie, another closer. And then prior to that, in the Risen Star Stakes, he was third in the slop. So he handles a wet track or fast track. Sierra Leone defeated him in that Risen Star Stakes. And then he won the Smarty Jones Stakes earlier this year. Flavien Prat does well in the Kentucky Derby. I think the last 6 rides he's had in the Kentucky Derby, 5 of those horses finished in the top 3. So Flavien Prat knows how to ride the Kentucky Derby, and I would expect that from this horse, he's going to be not as far back as Sierra Leone, but he will be coming from off the pace, and Prat will just put him in the right spot. If the pace is really quick, he'll be further back early. If the pace is not as quick, Catching Freedom has enough positional speed to keep the leaders in his sights, and he'll be a little bit closer to the pace. Catalytic, number 5, probably outmatched for trainer Safi Joseph Jr. 1 win in 2 seconds from 3 starts. Doesn't have much experience. Broke his maiden last fall in a sprint. His second career start was in a sprint, and he ended up finishing second there. And then he stretched out, and Fierceness beat him by 13 lengths in the Florida Derby. His speed ratings are going up, but he's going to have to go way up. For him, probably stalking the pace, but there are other stalkers that are more interesting. Just Steel likes to stalk the pace, and he's very experienced. 11 starts, 2 wins, 4 seconds, and a 3rd place finish. He's run twice at Churchill with a win and a 3rd, and he's one that will stalk the pace and just keep on coming at you. He'll give his all. I just don't know that he's really a mile and a quarter horse. Justify is his sire. He is a sprint stakes winner. He won the Ed Brown Stakes at Churchill Downs. He was 2nd in the Smarty Jones, 2nd in the Southwest, a wide 7th in the Rebel Stakes, where he was just hung out to dry from post 11. And then he stalked wide last time, and he was 2nd best behind Muth at 32-1 odds in the Arkansas Derby. For trainer D. Wayne Lucas, he's won the Kentucky Derby 4 times, and this horse would be a surprise if he won. Wouldn't be shocked if he finished somewhere in the Superfecta. Number 7, Anna Marie, another horse that probably has a decent shot to hit the board. Just not sure he's quite good enough to win, but he does like Churchill. 3 starts with 2 wins and a 2nd. And he does come off of a good effort in the Louisiana Derby last time out, rallying from 10th place, just being outfinished by Catching Freedom. But that was a good effort. Prior to that, the Risen Star, he fell too far back. Sierra Leone defeated him there. And in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes last fall at Churchill, he went last to first. So look for him late. He had a bullet work at Churchill on April 25th, and I think he can get a piece of this. Just a Touch is an interesting win contender for trainer Brad Cox. This is the son of Justify. He's an unraced 2-year-old. Justify was an unraced 2-year-old when he won the Triple Crown in 2018. So this horse, in his career debut on January 27th in the slop in a 6-furlong race at Fairgrounds, he pressed and he pulled clear, and that was a fast race. His 2nd career start, the Grade 3 Gotham, caught a wet track again. He was 2nd best that day behind Deterministic, and Deterministic just had a better stalking trip than he did. And then last time in the Bluegrass, he stalked Fast Fractions. He opened up by a length and a quarter, and then that relentless late run from Sierra Leone ran him down, and he was beaten a length and a half, but he was well clear of show finisher Epic Ride in a solid effort. His best races should be in front of him. He's training forwardly. He's got a lot of upside. He's run relatively fast in his races, enough to make him a win contender. And then Florin Giroux rides back, and he's one that should put this horse in a good stalking position. Number 9, Encino, has scratched. Number 10, T.O. Password, most likely is overmatched. He's only run 2 times in his career. He won both in Japan, but he's very inexperienced. He's the most inexperienced horse in this race. He's another unraced 2-year-old with just 2 starts this year. He did have a good workout earlier this week at Churchill Downs. I think he's one that can impact the pace under Kazushi Kimura, but I don't think he's going to be around at the end. I'm not sure what to make of number 11, Forever Young. He's 5 for 5 lifetime, another Japanese horse. Won his first 3 races in Japan, his debut on a fast track. His next 2 starts, he won on a good track, including a mile and an eighth victory second time out. Not worried about the mile and a quarter distance at all. Then he went to Saudi Arabia for the Grade 3 Saudi Derby, a 1-turn mile, and he was able to run down sprinter Bukum Dano, and he just got up by a head. That race was too short for him, but he won it anyway. And then in the UAE Derby last time out, he won that race by 2 lengths. He stalked the pace. The pace setter there, Autobahn, was just out there controlling the pace. Forever Young was stalking wide, and he was just determined in the stretch, and he wore that one down at that mile and 3/16 distance. Now, I think 19 times horses have run in the UAE Derby and came and tried the Kentucky Derby, and none of those horses finished in the top 3. And he hasn't looked great in the mornings either, but he clearly has a lot of ability, and he's probably going to be stalking the pace while out in the clear. Track Phantom is adding blinkers for this race. He's a 20-1 long shot. The trainer Steve Asmussen still looking for his first Kentucky Derby victory. And for this horse, 3 starts at Churchill, a win, a second, and a third. He's very consistent. 6 out of 7 races he finished in the top 3. But if you look at his overall form, when he got out to a mile and an eighth in the Risen Star, he ended up finishing second. Sierra Leone just outfinished him, even though he controlled the pace. And then in the Louisiana Derby, he set the pace there, and he finished 4th. So at a mile and an eighth and a mile and 3/16 in his last 2 starts, he set the pace, and he lost ground late, and now he's got to go a mile and a quarter against some other quality speed horses. Don't think he's going to be able to hang in there throughout. Number 13, West Saratoga, 10 starts, 2 wins, 5 seconds, and a third. 3 starts at Churchill with a win in 2 seconds. Just don't think he's fast enough. His speed ratings aren't quick enough. In the Tampa Bay Derby, he ended up, in the Sam F. Davis Stakes, he ended up finishing 3rd. And then last time in the Jeff Ruby Stakes, he finished 2nd. And he was 31-1 and 36-1 in those races. They were Kentucky Derby points races, and that's how he got into the Derby. Then going all the way back to the first Derby points race last year, it was at Churchill Downs, a 1-turn mile, the Grade 3 Iroquois Stakes. He won that race. So he's one that's going to try to stalk the pace. Other stalkers are more interesting and faster than him. Number 14, Endlessly, another one you're not quite sure what to do with. Certainly he had ability on turf. He won his first 3 career starts on turf, maiden special weight turf route, the Del Mar Juvenile Turf, a Grade 3, the Zuma Beach Stakes, a Grade 3, and he rallied to win all of those races. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, he ended up finishing 8th, stalking the pace. The El Camino Real Derby on all-weather ground in February, he rallied from 7th in an 8-horse field to win that one. And then the Jeff Ruby Stakes, the Grade 3 at Turfway Park on all-weather ground last time out. His last 2 races were a mile and an eighth, and he won that one too. But he's one that he's never really looked like a dirt horse when he's been training on dirt. He has high leg action. He looks like a turf horse. His last workout on April 26th was improved, but it still didn't jump out to show you that this horse is going to love dirt. And then if it's wet dirt too, you really don't know what to do. I just don't think he's fast enough anyway. Like his numbers on all-weather ground and turf, he's just not as fast as some of the top contenders in this race. I think he would be a surprise if he won this race. Domestic Product, number 15, is a live long shot in here. The less fancied of the 2 Chad Brown trainees. This is the son of Practical Joke. And in his career, in his second career start at a mile and an eighth, he added blinkers, and he won that one last year. And then in the Remsen Stakes, he was up the track. The Holy Bull Stakes, slow early, fast late. He stalked, he finished 2nd. Hades stole that one. Domestic Product was 2nd. Fierceness, your heavy favorite in this race, or most likely the favorite over Sierra Leone, ended up finishing a disappointing 3rd that day. And then in his last start, the Tampa Bay Derby, slow early, fast late, and he just outfinished the others and won by a neck. How is he going to react when it's a faster pace race? Not sure how that's going to play out for him. Irad Ortiz Jr. is riding. He's a good workhorse. He's been working well. He hasn't run in 8 weeks. He's only run a mile and a 16th. So now he's going to have to stretch out to a mile and a quarter here. He had a bullet workout on March 30th, another bullet on April 13th, and then he had a good team drill with Sierra Leone on April 27th. Grand Mo the First, number 16, a son of Uncle Mo. He's got 2 wins and 4 thirds from 6 starts. Just doesn't look good enough. In the Florida Derby, he was 3rd, beaten 16 lengths. He likes to stalk the pace. There's a lot of horses in here that like to be forwardly placed, stalking the pace. And we have a few horses that like to be very forwardly placed, including number 17, Fierceness, your 5-2 morning line favorite. He's one that's been brilliant at times and then not so good other times. First by 11 in his career debut in the mud. He just dominated that one, and that was a fast race. Champagne Stakes, I made him my tough choice. He lunged at the start, never got to get into that good early pressing rhythm that he likes to, and he was 7th, beaten 20 lengths. Bounced back in a big way in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, pressing, taking over, and winning by more than 6. Muth was second there. Muth won the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby earlier this year, and then he's a contender for the Preakness Stakes. For Fierceness, the Holy Bull Stakes was another disappointment. Didn't have the best start. He was wide. The pace was very slow, 25.50, 114. He should have won that race. He was just so much better than those horses, but he just didn't run his race. And as soon as it went wrong at the start, he just didn't show that brilliance. But he showed that brilliance in the Florida Derby. He did not mess around. He got out there and controlled the pace. It was not a fast pace. He was just in complete control over overmatched rivals, and he won by 13 lengths. That was a fast race. So now Fierceness is actually going to break from post 16. He's number 17 because we had that scratch of Encino. And he's probably glad that he's not in post 17. I'll talk about that in a minute. But for him, he has to have a good start. And if he can get that good start and get into that good early pressing rhythm, he can run a good race. But if the pace is too fast, even if he has a good start, he might be vulnerable at this 1.25 mile distance in that last eighth of a mile. Number 18, Stronghold. Now he moves in one spot post position wise, and he'll break from post 17. And post 17 in the Kentucky Derby, 0 for 44. Now he's in post 17 here. Ran well in all of his starts, 6 starts, 3 wins, and 3 seconds. He's getting better. He's just not as fast as some of the top contenders. He won the Sunland Derby and Santa Anita Derby in his last 2 starts. Just like a lot of horses in this race, he likes to show tactical speed. Antonio Fresu rides him well. He's going to have to get faster and work out some kind of trip. Same goes for Resilience, but he definitely improved last time. He's one I've always liked. I had him on my Derby list, and I dropped him off of my Derby list, and then he was back on again. After his maiden win, I had him on my Derby list. That was an impressive win on January 1st. And then in his first stake start in the Risen Star, he was an even 4th from post 10 on a wet track. I dropped him off my Derby list there. And then after he won the Wood Memorial, adding blinkers, he was my second choice there. I wish I would have made him my top choice, but I made him my second choice. But he ran a good race from post 1, stalking, taking over, and winning by 2.25 lengths under John Velasquez. John Velasquez is the rider of Fierceness. The Junior Alvarado, who does good work with trainer Bill Mott, will get aboard this horse. I think he is live in here. He's got a nice pedigree. He's got a nice speed rating pattern. He's on the improve. He just needs to work out some kind of trip from post 18. Number 20 is Society Man, and he's a 50-1 long shot for trainer Danny Gargan. And Danny Gargan also saddles number 1 Dornoch in this race. And for Society Man, he qualified for the Kentucky Derby by finishing second in the Wood Memorial behind Resilience, and his odds were over 100-1 that day. Now Frankie Dettori is going to ride. He's got post 19 here, and he's going to have to work out some kind of trip. He can rally from off the pace. He won in the mud, his maiden, rallying from 10 lengths back. And then in that Wood Memorial, he was just stalking the pace, sitting 5th before grabbing second, picking up 50 Kentucky Derby points and qualifying for the Derby. I think he's a cut below in here. Also eligible originally, number 21, Epic Ride, gets into the field because Encino scratched. And Epic Ride finished 3rd in the Bluegrass last time at 51-1 odds. Before that, it was all weather races. He was 1st or 2nd in all of them. A victory in the Leone Stakes, 2nd in the John Battaglia Memorial behind Encino. He's had a decent stalking trip and hung in there nicely in the Bluegrass. From this post 20, he's going to be in trouble trying to trip-wise, because I just don't know how he's going to work out a good trip. And then number 22, Mugatu, this one, 12 starts, 1 win, 1 second, and 3/3. He's still eligible for an entry-level allowance race. He was 4th in the John Battaglia Memorial, beaten 7 lengths. 8th in the Rushaway Stakes, and then the Grade 1 Bluegrass, he was 5th at 181-1. If he gets in, he has an impossible post. He's not fast enough. So there's a lot of different ways you can go. It just depends how it plays out. We'll have to see what kind of track condition we end up having here. I think the pace has the potential to be honest to fast. And regardless, Sierra Leone is going to be my top choice. He's been my top ranked Derby contender since early February. I've always liked this horse. He's always looked like a Kentucky Derby type horse. Lots of stamina here. He's just ticking all the boxes. He's a 2-time graded stakes winner. He's a nose away from being undefeated. He's probably the best closer in this field. He's training well. Everything looks positive for him. So Sierra Leone, if he can work out some kind of clean trip in here, I think he's got a very good chance to run down a horse like Fierceness. I can see Fierceness maybe up on a fast pace and getting the lead, but I see Sierra Leone's stamina and his just relentless long stride, just getting in gear and just having more stamina than the other horses in this race and getting the job done. So Sierra Leone is going to be my top choice in the 2024 Kentucky Derby. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this horse racing content. And keep checking my YouTube channel. Now we're going to turn our attention to the Preakness Stakes after the Kentucky Derby. I'm going to have a Kentucky Derby recap video, and then I'll start covering all the Preakness doings. We have 2 weeks between the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. And on my YouTube channel, I'm going to have lots of Preakness action. So stay tuned to that. And until I see you next time, good luck in the Kentucky Derby and good luck at the races.